Gretty, my wife says, if you do a YouTube channel about your Jeep, are you going to have enough content? No, honey. Yeah, no. Let me chalk this tire so my Jeep doesn't go rolling off here. So I do a lot of maintenance on the Jeep because, well, I like to trail ride. I don't like to fix my Jeep on the trail ride. So I have a keen eye. I have a keen ear for things that are going wrong. I say keen ear. You don't really have to have a keen ear. You just got to somewhat listen. The Jeep will tell you when there's a problem. Or you'll feel when there's a problem. So let's see if you can hear the problem. All right, so you hear that occasional squeak, 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 whatever it is. That would be our water pump bearing going bad. So it's time for a water pump. Now, since I'm going to be taking the water pump off, may as well flush the coolant, even though I just replaced it a month ago. Lucky me. I'll go ahead and flush, and I'll replace the coolant, and I'll check out the radiator hoses. There's some moisture right in this area. I don't know if you can see that or not. Tells me there's a little bit of something leaking in here. This hose does not look good. Right here at the clamp, there appears to be a little bit of tearing. So this one definitely needs to be replaced. I'm gonna go ahead and replace that one. And while I'm at it, may as well replace the lower hose. And we will also replace the fan clutch, and we'll replace the water pump, obviously. So, gotta go get some parts. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is flush my system right over there with this Prestone super radiator flush. And the lovely thing about having a lifted Jeep is you don't have to lift it to get to the drain cock. That's right. I just put my bucket under here. Y'all don't pay any attention to all that mud under my Jeep. Now don't look at that. That's not the important part. Important part is the drain cock right there. We just gotta loosen that bad boy up. Now it probably would help if I took the radiator cap off. Let's try doing that. Oh yeah, there we go. Radiator actually looks pretty good. This radiator is not old. I have changed the coolant in this thing, I don't know, lots of times in the last few years because various issues that come up. So I have lots of reasons to replace coolant, which means it keeps the anti-corrosives fresh. So really, honestly, the inside of this thing should be in pretty good shape. But, you know, since you're doing it, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and do it right. It's going to take a while. But it's Saturday, so I can watch a little football while things are happening. So that's good. Tomorrow I'm going autocrossing, so I don't have time to fool with this tomorrow. So I'm not sure when I'm actually going to get around to washing this Jeep. I still haven't washed it from the night ride. So many things going on, but that's all right. It's going to be fine. Okay, so got it all drained down. Got the drain cock closed. That's important. Don't want to leave that open. Oh, look, a skink. I was getting bugs. Get him, get him. Anyway. So we're going to pour this flush in here. And then we'll fill it up with water. Okay, gonna get the engine up to temperature. We're going to turn the heater on, let it run for 10 minutes, shut it off, drain it out. Need to get her up to 210. If you don't have a hand throttle, these things are really useful. By the way, temperature today, 88 degrees. but not too humid, so not too bad. All right, we are up to operating temperature. Time to turn the heater on and start the clock. It is 10:48, 10:58. We shut her off and drain her. All right, time is up. Time to shut it down. So after running hot for 10 minutes with the heater on, we gotta let it cool off so we can drain it back out and do it all over again without the flush with just the water next time. All right, it has cooled off. Time to take the radiator cap off and open the drain cock. There we go. Let that drain back out. We'll do it all over again with just water. All right, we are up to operating temperature. I'm drop the throttle back down, crank on the heat, and we'll come back at 12:10. All right, let's see here. Cool the touch here. No pressure there. I'll probably go ahead and undo the drain cock first. Just because that's the way I like to do it. Leave any of that pressure shooting down instead of up in my face if there's any. There we have it. Let's see what it looks like. Looks like a radiator. Man, that's a good looking radiator you got there, Gritty. Well, thank you. Now, while that is draining, I'll go ahead and pull my tank and rinse it out. I've already loosened this up. Oh, look how dirty I am. I was mowing grass while I was waiting for the Jeep to cool off. It's called multitasking. All right. Slide that down there so I don't lose it. We'll go rinse this off, or out. Guess I can go ahead and remove that top radiator hose. I will use my fancy hose clamp pliers. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't remember where I got these from. Maybe it was Harbor Freight, maybe it was Amazon, maybe it was AutoZone. Can't remember. But they actually do what they say they're supposed to do, which is nice. It's like when you pull it together like this, the pliers lock, so you don't have to sit there and squeeze it while you're trying to manipulate this hose clamp around. It's pretty cool. Works pretty good. So I had what I thought was every tool ready. Apparently I did not. Bad, Gritty. I don't know what I did with the hose clamp on this side. I probably lost it. All right, let's get this hose off. This hose is not in bad shape. I can keep this as a spare. I figured while I was doing all this, I may as well go ahead and replace it. Yeah, it's not cracked or anything. Next, I'll get this upper heater core hose. I got the replacement for that one. Get the other end. So this is a heater core end here. Take that off there. I had to replace the heater core on one of these things. Pain in the butt. After a little prying with the screwdriver, able to get it to break free and get it off. This is a very old hose. This is not in such great shape, especially on this other end here. It looks like a little corrosion, maybe a little leakage going on there. Not sure. I know this one has definitely got a leaking going on. Oh yeah, stuck on there real good. I'm sure there's some juice in here. Trying to get it out without spilling it all over everything. Oh, I can feel it in there. Yep, One down, one to go. All right, put them back in the clips which way they belong. We're clamped on this end, we're clamped on this end. Brand new heater hoses. Don't have to worry about those for a little while longer. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the lower radiator hose. It's just the clamp right there, and then another one up there, and I'm gonna pop it off. I may just go ahead and pull this whole radiator out since I'm gonna be working on the water pump and changing out the fan. May just be easier to get everything out of the way. Probably what I'll end up doing. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it. So when you do your lower radiator hose, don't remember to pull this spring out. This keeps it from collapsing because it's pulling a suction on there, and then put it back in here. Tucked in there nicely. Now it won't collapse. You can't collapse it. Bueno. It's good stuff. I think that's what bueno means. Could be wrong. Probably not. All right, so 4 bolts gets our fan shroud off. Now we can take my radiator off, and I can just pull this out and get this out of the way. And that's all out of the way. Not the fool trying to work around it. Don't think I need you to hold my hand while I take out these 3 bolts on each side. So just know that I'm about to take these out. And I'm gonna turn this fan back on because I'm tired of sweating. Quick FYI, they have these nice big holes drilled in here so you can put an extension and get your ratchet to extend through there, where each of those holes are. So know that. All right, grab you an Amazon box, shove it down in there between the fan and the radiator so you don't jack up your fins when you pull your radiator out. Got a few bugs and critters and stuff on it. Go ahead and rinse that out, clean up that radiator. Got that all out of the way. Plenty of room now to work on that water pump. All right, friends, we have reached 92 degrees. I'm sweating my butt off. We're going to big fan mode, so it's going to be voiceover from here on out. It is just too hot. I'm going to crank that on because I'm just sitting here sweating my butt off.
Time to dig into the water pump. You'll need a 1/2-inch wrench to get your nuts off. That's what she said. And then you'll be able to take the fan off.
She's looking a little old. So I left the belt on while I did that so this wouldn't spin as I was trying to get these nuts off and get this fan off. Now that's out of my way, I can go ahead and take the belt off, which is in really good shape. I just replaced it not too long ago, so don't need to replace the belt. I'm gonna check this pulley. I'm gonna listen to it when I spin it. Probably should have got a new idler pulley while I was out there, but I did not. I may change my mind. I may need to go get a new one. And then I have to take off this bracket because it's connected to the water pump. And then pull the pump out. About there.
To remove the belt on my 97, which is the next step after you remove the fan, is take a 15mm socket and you put it on the idler pulley over by the belt tensioner. You loosen that bolt because that bolt provides tension, so your belt tensioner bolt doesn't easily loosen, I guess you could say. And once you loosen that idler pulley, go up to the top and counterclockwise to loosen the belt tensioner, clockwise to tighten it. So we're going to go counterclockwise until that belt is nice and loose, and then we're just going to pop it off, and then you're done with that step.
Want to see something scary? That is my water pump bearing. Oh my good, not supposed to do that. Oh, it feels just awful. I'm lucky that did not seize up on me while I was driving. Oh my gosh, it barely turns. Wow. So I took this off of here, I forgot to hit record.
Over on the passenger side, you need to remove that idler pulley because it's in the way of the water pump, and then come back over the driver's side and remove your bracket and power steering pump because those are also in the way.
How many different sizes can we use in one area? If you want to find out, ask Jeep. So that was 13. is connected back in here by something, maybe a 5/8. So the bolt way back in there is definitely a 9/16 because we definitely need another size. All right, so that's the back of my pulley tightening system I was telling you about. So you loosen that right there, and then you use that to loosen and tighten the belt. Simple.
Then I had to remove the hose that I just attached. Then with a 13mm, remove your water pump bolts. You can look at your new water pump and see where those are located if you're having trouble finding them, but they're pretty easy to find. And I accidentally took out one extra because I took one out of the thermostat housing.
So this one, I took out of the thermostat housing on accident. So I got to put some Teflon on here and put it back in. So the impeller looks pretty good, but this bearing is absolutely shot. It's not going any further. Look, you can see where it's starting to chew on the inside of the housing. Yep, that was bad. It's cookie time.
Time to clean the old paper gasket off of the mating surface, and it is on there good. So whatever you got, wire brush, razor blade, sandpaper. Don't get too crazy with the sandpaper. I used a combination of the razor blade and the cookie with my die grinder. That seemed to work pretty good. Got it pretty clean.
That was a good bit of work, but it looks like we've got the gasket surface clean. It's a little rough right there. I need to get a little more right there. That paper gasket was really on there good, but a little bit up here, I gotta get a little more.
After you remove the water pump and take note of the one longer bolt and where it goes, get out your 19mm open end wrench and put your old water pump in the vise or step on it on the ground or however you can secure it so you can get some torque on that wrench. Put that 19mm on that hardline pipe and get it off because you're going to need to reuse it. Also take note of its position. Just remember it in your old brain, your little noggin there where it goes. And then I got out the die grinder and the wire wheel and cleaned up the old hardline pipe and hit it with some self-etching primer since the metal was bare. Got it looking good again, had a little bit of rust on it, threw some semi-gloss black over the top of that. I think it turned out pretty good. Looked almost like new for being so old. Put the bolts back through the new water pump, slapped the gasket on there, the bolts help hold it on. And then I put it in place, pulled out the 13mm again and my ratchet and started putting it back together. Reassembly time.
Jeep water pump bolt torque setting is 22 foot-pounds. There we go. Lovely. Oh, so much better. Guess I can go ahead and put the lower radiator hose on since it's easy to get to. Let me do that. Yep, definitely easier to get to.
After putting the lower radiator hose on, I focused my attention on the passenger side idler pulley, got that back on and tightened down, and then I moved my attention over to the power steering pump bracket. I put the power steering pump bolts in to hold the bracket in place, and then put the bolts that hold the bracket to the block. I put those in next, snugged them up, didn't get them super tight, but snugged them up, and then removed the bolts from the bracket that hold the power steering pump on, put the power steering pump back on, tightened those bolts up, and then tightened the ones up to the block so that everything would go together and you're not fighting bolts trying to go through holes that aren't quite lined up right.
All right, so I forgot to pull the fan studs out of the old water pump. Nothing too difficult. You just put one of these nuts in, you put another one on top of it. You tighten those together, and then you back this one off, and it's going to pull that stud out. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go get these two tight and then back it out.
I really should have done this while the water pump was out of the Jeep, but I just forgot. So again, you just put the two nuts right on top of each other and then use your two wrenches to tighten them up, and then they easily back out. At least they've always easily backed out for me. Get that stud right on out of there. If you have some trouble, you can always go pick up a new stud at the auto parts store, and then thread them into your new water pump, which again I should have done while it was out, but I forgot. So now I've got to do that while the pump is kind of at an awkward position. But nothing too tough. Tighten them in. When it gets tight enough, that bottom nut will free up and it will break free, and you'll be good to go. You can thread the top nut off of it, and you can thread the one underneath it off of it. Shouldn't have any trouble with that. After putting the studs back in the water pump, put the water pump pulley back on, and then it was time to put the fan on. So I put the belt back on to get it slightly tensioned so I could tighten up those fan bolts a little bit. And then it was time to transfer the fan from the old fan clutch. Pretty simple job. Just remove these 4 bolts, pull the fan off, slap the new fan clutch underneath it, tighten the 4 bolts, back down. The torque spec for these bolts was 15 to 20 foot-pounds, so I set my torque wrench at 18 and then cinched them down. After that, put the fan blade onto that water pump pulley and put the nuts on there and got them good and taut, I would say. Not crazy tight, but as tight as I could get them. I don't have the belt all the way tight, so it will rotate when you try to tighten those, which is fine because I wanted to make sure that that pulley plate was snug up against the water pump before I tightened the belt down and really got onto those fan blade nuts. So then I tightened the belt down and then tightened those nuts down as much as I wanted to. There's no torque spec. I didn't find one. I just got them good and snug. And then after that, we'll put the fan shroud on, because you got to put that on to get it out of the way so you can drop your radiator in. If you put the radiator in before the fan shroud, you're going to be pretty upset because you have to take it off to get the fan shroud on. So put your fan shroud on first, then put the radiator in. After you put the radiator in, go ahead and tighten the radiator down, and then tighten the fan shroud down. Then it was time to put the clamps on the lower radiator hose. I had to put the upper radiator hose, the coolant overflow bottle back in, and then reattach my heater hoses. So all my hoses would be all nice and attached for when it was time to pour the coolant back in.
Well, that was a full day's worth of activities. Time to get her filled up with coolant, cycle it through and see how it does. Gotta be better than that old pump was. That bearing was shot. I go with the 50-50 mix, because I don't have to mix in distilled water, which is nice. Just going to the grocery store to get distilled water is a pain in the butt. Come on now, don't be acting like that. Don't be all gurglers on me. Hey, easy. Put some dry ice in there for Halloween. That'd be sweet. What do you think? Put it in the comments. Oh, if you never used one of these little funnel things, these are awesome. Easy way to get all the air out because it's higher than everything. And when you're done, when you're ready to pull it out, you just stick this down in there. And you can take it off and then put it back in the bottle without spilling it all over the dang place. I hope it fills up soon. That's all I got left. It's 1.5 gallons so far. Oh, we've reached equilibrium. Sweet. All right, let's get that water pump moving. So I'll just let it burp and bubble out there. We'll add a little bit if we need to. Let it come up to temperature. Shut it off and take it out. Should be opening up here real soon. Squeeze the hose. That clutch doesn't sound too great though. Probably about time for a new clutch. Good gracious. You hear that? Definitely up the temperature. Heater's on high. Oh, look at her, there she goes. Now she's open. Now that thermostat's open. Heck yeah. Come on, burp out that air, baby. Not see any leaks anywhere. That's good. Alright, so I'm just going to stick this in here. Whoop. Put that there. Hop, hop. Radiator cap back on. So now we just pull this out. Voila! Complete. Almost full, just a hair shy on being full. So I need to get a little more antifreeze coolant mixture. Looking good. Water pump is sounding way better. Appreciate y'all joining me for this last minute water pump change out. Wasn't expecting to have to do this, but hey, when it calls, you got to get it done. So got some new hoses on there. Happy with that. Got to keep an eye on that AC fan clutch. It's sounding a little rough there. Got to look into replacing that. Other than that, hey, I hope you learned something. If not, hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. For myself, Grady, y'all have a great evening.